with the cold. Spring greens, they never look so bold. Against blue skies and leafless trees, getting ready to burst out with signs of spring. The spring peepers, birds in song, their busyness and singing all day long. Bulbs break ground in falling rain, so happy to greet spring again. Daffodils, baby leaves, waving wind and give a gentle breeze. Spring rain, rustle streams, wake up roots from your winter dreams. The spring peepers, birds in song, their busyness and singing all day long. Bulbs break ground, hear falling rain, so happy to greet spring again. Trees dance in the sun, squirrels relax, your winter work, it's done. The garden is calling me, my hands are dirty, it's where I wanna be. Spring peepers, birds in song, the busyness of singing all day long. Bulbs break ground, hear falling rain, so happy to greet spring again. So happy to greet spring. Oh,
Celebration Center for Spiritual Living, and welcome to yet another fabulous Sunday morning. I am so glad that you have woken up and shown up, whether that means you're here in person or joining us on live stream. Welcome to everyone. So my question for this morning is, what is your favorite food? So if you're at home, tell us in the chat, what's your favorite food? What about y'all here? What's your favorite food? Ice cream. Many, many foods. Pizza, spaghetti, strawberry shortcake, shrimp. All right, are we working up an appetite? That's wonderful, because today is our Eat, Pray, Love potluck after the service. So this is not going to be at 12:30. It's going to be immediately following the service. And if you are online, you are welcome to join us. So we will be setting up our hybrid system and putting it at the end of the table, so you will get to be a part along with all of us. And this is a potluck. It is not a picnic due to multiple circumstances. And so we are going to be up here. So once the service ends, I invite everyone to shift chairs around, put up tables. Y'all actually know better than I do how to do an indoor potluck, because y'all used to do that all the time. So I'm counting on everyone here to make that happen, and I'm looking forward to that time. And everyone is welcome. Whether you brought food or not, please join us and stay after. We have more than enough for everyone. Also, if you are joining us for the very first time, an extra special welcome to you, whether you're online or in person, and we would like to invite you to fill out a guest card. There are a couple of different ways you can do that. Of course, right over on the table to your left, if you're here in the room, is all of the information about everything, as well as guest cards and prayer cards and everything like that. Or you can simply scan this QR code that's right here next to me, and that will also take you to our online guest form. Speaking of prayers, if you would like to turn in a prayer request for our Ministry of Prayer, as well as our practitioners and ministers, you can do that in a couple of ways. Once again, on the table over to your left, or you can scan this QR code or go to our website, celebrationcenter.org, and click on Request Affirmative Prayer. Those prayers are held in love and confidentiality, and we will pray with you throughout the week and at Ministry of Prayer on Monday afternoons. For those of you who are online, I invite you to just go ahead and click that share button and share us out onto all your social media. Let your friends and family know what you're up to this morning, and invite them to church. That's right. You get to invite people to join you at church without any of you having to get dressed or leave the comfort of your own home. How wonderful is that? So go ahead and share us out. Let people know what you are up to. All right, y'all. Where was Flat Ernest this week? Flat Ernest? Flat Ernest. Remember, you found him last week, Ingy. You found him on the slideshow? Did anybody read the e-news and see where Flat Ernest was? All right. Well, as we're going through the announcements, see if you can find him, okay? So our Tuesday night meditation is changing, and that does begin this week. We are moving it to 6 o'clock instead of 5:30, and it is on a different Zoom. So in order to get that Zoom link, you can either go to our website, and the information's all there. You can also just go to, oh, it's not on there. You can go to bit.ly/something. Oh no, y'all. Just go to our website and it'll be on the e-news, and we're going to be sending an announcement out about it tomorrow. So my goodness, that was an epic fail. I don't know why it's not on that slide. I'm going to have to redo that. Next, you may have noticed, if you are here in person, that we have moved to mass optional at all times. So every week, there's no more first Sunday only, all of that, simply mass optional. We always encourage you to do whatever feels comfortable and safe for you, and we will continue to provide mass at the front of the room so that... Oh, I see a hand in the back. Why are you raising your hand, Rev Ryan? Oh, Rev Ryan found Ernest. Does everybody see him? Right there, yeah. right there in the O. So Rev Ryan, you get to pick out a book in the bookstore. More things being brought into our house. I know that's exactly what they're super excited about in their little minimalist heart. So anyways, we invite you to always do whatever is comfortable for you. And so if that means that you even would like to stay home because you're, feeling uncomfortable, or maybe your immune system is a little lowered, that is no problem. We welcome you, whatever your situation is, and we will always provide Mass at the front of the room for you if you would like. Let's see. Next, y'all, World Refugee Day. It is coming right up June 9th. I am so excited about World Refugee Day. It is going to be so much fun. So we are doing this, Lutheran Social Services is putting on this huge carnival experience. There's going to be games and bouncy castles and food and art and all of this stuff. And Celebration Center is doing a collaborative art project that is going to then hang in their new resource center next year. And it is based on the art of Alma Thomas, who is a DC artist, or was a DC artist. It is incredible. I'm so excited about this. So we need several things. We need volunteers to actually come to the event. It's going to be really fun. You don't need to be artistic. You just are going to be supporting people. It is outdoors. However, it is mask optional, just so you can make, educated guesses, or educated decisions, not guesses, educated decisions for yourself. And we also need people who are willing to donate the supplies. So we need to purchase like 4 giant canvases for this project and Elmer's glue. We need tons of magazines. If you have old magazines, please bring those into us. And then we need the acrylic spray stuff to seal it all so that it becomes like a real piece of art, and paintbrushes, all kinds of stuff. So if you are online, I have put the link in the chat, and by I mean my glorious tech team in the back. And if you are here in the room, you can scan that code that was up there, or y'all, there is a whole page dedicated to this on our website. Just go to celebrationcenter.org, click on World Refugee Day right there at the top, and it's going to give you all of the information that you need. It is going to be a blast. I highly recommend coming and volunteering and donating some supplies. The Grief Life Circle, which some of you have participated in, this will be our 3rd round of it, is starting Saturday, June 17th. It is running for 12 weeks from 11 to 12:30 in the mornings, and it is open to anyone. You do not have to be going through an acute grief or loss process at the moment. Anybody and everybody is welcome to come. So if you feel like you have some unprocessed stuff from the past, or there's just things you want to work on, maybe you have like the pre-summer blues, or you're hoping that your energy levels get back up, but really you've been kind of sad, or maybe you have an extreme grief process that you're going through, an acute grief like the loss of a loved one, or a job, or a divorce, or a pet, or whatever it may be. This is open for everyone. I think all of us could benefit from learning how to process and integrate and love our own grief better. So this is open to anyone. It is a science of mind perspective on grief and loss. There is no cost. However, you must register for it, and you will get a special link for that as well. So you can register by going to bit.ly/grief life circle, and all of the information is going to be there for you. And then finally, this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. And so on this Memorial weekend, let us honor and remember those who have sacrificed in service to our nation and to all nations to the world. And as we pay our respects to them, let us also affirm the eternal spirit within them, knowing that their love and courage continue to inspire and guide us. May we cherish their memory and strive for a world of peace and harmony for all, a world that works for all. So, blessed Memorial Day to everyone, especially those who have lost someone in any armed service or military, whether it's in this country or another country. And we thank everyone for their service. And today we have a special service. We have all angles performing with Lynn Hollyfield, our music director, as well as Joyce Lindell, Nancy Newman, and Jen Fay. We have, yes, let's give them a round of applause. We have Rich Kurasiewicz as our practitioner on platform. Yay, Rich. We have our illustrious tech team in the back making everything possible. And we have one of my most favorite people coming to speak to us. It is Reverend Lydia Joy Ayers. They are our practitioner support ministers. So some of you who are not practitioners may not know that we actually have 2 ministers here at Celebration Center. And Reverend Lydia Joy works tirelessly behind the scenes, helping me with administrative tasks, working with the practitioners, making sure that they are loved and supported and buoyed up. And I am so glad they live in Winston-Salem. They're attending Wake Forest University to get their MDiv, and they are a full-fledged minister already in Science of Mind and Centers for Spiritual Living. They're one of my closest and best friends. If you saw wedding pictures, you probably saw them because they were my person of honor. And I'm so excited to hear what they have to say. Their talks are always leave me inspired. So let's welcome Reverend Lydia Joy Ayers. And now I'd like to invite all angles up for an opening song.
Okay, I hope you will sing along with us. We're going to sing Divine Light Mandala by Anike.
I am created by divine light.
I am sustained by divine light. I am protected by divine light. I am surrounded by divine light and constantly moving toward divine light. Hey, hey, hey. I am created by divine light. I am sustained by divine light. I am protected by divine light. I am surrounded by divine light and constantly moving toward divine light. Hey, 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 I am created by divine light. I am sustained by divine light. I am protected by divine light. I am surrounded by divine light and constantly moving toward divine light. Hey, 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 I am created by divine light. I am sustained by divine light. I am protected by divine light. I am surrounded by divine light and constantly moving by divine light. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey.
Good morning. My name is Rich Kurasiewicz, and I'm a licensed practitioner here at this center. Please say our vision together with me. We are celebrating spirit within and knowing the oneness of humanity. Today's reading comes from this month's Science of Mind magazine by Ernest Holmes. Today, the world is as good as you make it, or as evil as you think it. So we find Jesus telling us that we should make a daily practice of communing with God, and we should make it a daily practice to exercise our faith. Then he gave us, step by step, the way to do this. Believe that you have, and you shall receive. Give, and to you shall be given. Love, and you will be loved. Daily, then, we should practice the divine presence. And this is done by the simple fact of affirming that the divine presence is here in us now. All that God has, all that God is, All the life that ever can be is here and now. We should affirm that the law of good goes before us and prepares the way, and we should expect good to happen. I invite you to enter this sacred time in our service with a 3-part breath. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Feel how you are supported by your chair and the ground beneath your feet as you deepen your breath and bring your awareness to the present moment. Allow everything else, the worries, concerns, to-do lists, and busyness, to fall away as you simply relax in the now. Focus on your heart center and the secret place of the Most High within. And so we pray. God is all there is, the living Spirit Almighty, in all, over all, around all, through, throughout all, as all. There is only one mind, one power, one presence, and one life. God is the entire universe, the creator and the creation, all life and everything there is. And I am that I am. I am a divine incarnation, and I am one with God. My life is the life of God. I am one of God in the universe. I am a co-creator. I am perfect, whole, and complete. And just as I am perfect, whole, and complete, each and every one is perfect, whole, complete, eternal, and immortal. I declare that each and every one takes the time to daily to go within, into the silence, into the secret place of the Most High, to raise their consciousness through unity with the divine within. I know that we experience peace, love, joy, harmony, abundance, and our light shine from within. I declare that we pray for our good and the good of others by speaking our word with faith, trust, belief, expectancy, acceptance, and gratitude. On this Memorial Day, we express gratitude for all who gave their last full measure of devotion in service of their country. I'm so very grateful for the truth that sets us free as we practice prayer and meditation. I'm so very grateful for our ability to easily and effortlessly raise our consciousness and rise above our circumstances. I'm grateful for the good that is ever present and ever available through faith, trust, and believe. And I release my word unto the law, where it is already known in the mind of God and is assured of fulfillment. This is the word of God and will not return unto me void. I do give thanks that this is so, and so it is.
Okay, we're going to share an original tune. This is one of my originals. It's called Just Begin. When you're feeling lost or a little blue and the world around isn't what you're used to, you were all set, now life shakes that dream, paints an illusion. What does it all mean? take a deep breath. Now it's the start. Take a leap of faith from your weary heart. Pull out your colors from deep within. An old seed planted, now a flower blossoming. You thought the days ahead would be a little lighter. You thought your steps would have taken you farther. Wherever you are, it's where you need to be. Like in the night, dawn's around the corner, dark and light. He'll teach you to be stronger. Wherever you are, it's where you need to be. Don't worry, what's been, just begin. Just begin. Pull out your colors. You might think they're dim, but only your hand can make them blend. See for yourself what's right before your eyes. It's your masterpiece with no disguises. You thought the days ahead would be a little lighter. You thought your steps would have taken you farther. Wherever you are, it's where you need to be. Like in the night, dawn's around the corner, dark and light. He'll teach you to be stronger. Wherever you are, it's where you need to be. You thought the days ahead would be a little lighter. You thought your steps would have taken you farther. Wherever you are, it's where you need to be. Like in the night, dawn's around the corner, dark and light. He'll teach you to be stronger. Wherever you are, it's where you need to be. Don't worry, what's been. Don't worry, look within. Don't worry, where you been. Just begin. Just begin.
Thank you so much, All Ingalls. Lynn, that is one of my favorite of your original songs, so it's a joy to hear it from multiple voices. And so now, without further ado, I'd like to invite Reverend Lydia Joy Ayers up to talk to us about lights, camera, action.
Good morning, thank you. Hi. It's nice to see your faces in person. I've seen a lot of you on Zoom. You've seen a lot of me on Zoom. Take a breath with me. So as most of you are aware, I'm sure, the fact that I can play with this means I'm going to play with it the whole time. I apologize in advance. As most of you are aware, Centers for Spiritual Living has a set of global themes, and the global theme for the month of May is the light within the shadows, which I really appreciate, and I had the opportunity to give a talk earlier this month as well, so it's been interesting to work with these concepts in a little bit of a new way. And the talk title for today is Lights, Camera, Action, and I wasn't really sure what to do with that, so we're going to see where we land at the end. But what I can tell you we are going to talk about is the ability to show up and engage and participate in our lives in order to allow the divine to unfold through us the way it wants to, in the way that it needs to, in the way that it only can through us. And by us, I mean us as a collective and each one of us as an individual. Sometimes we try to meet other people's assumed expectations of us or pressure ourselves to be some version of what we think is perfect, and we cut off the flow of the divine. We cut off our ability to engage in that creative process because we are trying to be in control instead of letting God take the reins. And when we embrace the unknown, the changing, the inner creativity, the darkness, that we have, we can step fully into our own lights and help others do the same. So we'll hit 3 main points this morning, and the first is the difference in belonging and fitting in. We'll move from there to talk about some accountability, and then finally, we're going to talk about enjoying the process of creativity rather than the product that we're trying to present. I'm sure you're all familiar with Brené Brown, and recently, just a little bit, just a little tiny bit. It's not like Chris did a whole month on the Atlas of the Heart or anything. You've probably heard of her. But recently I saw a clip from, I saw a clip of Brené Brown talking about the difference in belonging and fitting in. And she said that in her research, she found something that at first really surprised her, which was the opposite of belonging is fitting in, which wasn't really what she would have expected. She expected the opposite of belonging to be ostracization or isolation or something. But really, the difference in these two ideas is belonging means that you are welcome the way that you are, and fitting in means you are changing yourself to try and meet an expectation and be welcome in a way that you think you need to be. So implied in this is this fear of rejection, and I'm sure I'm the only person in the entire world, definitely the only person in this room, who has ever presented a different version of myself because I was worried that people wouldn't like the version that I really wanted to be. I'm seeing some nods. Thank you. But in that, there's the kind of underlying idea that you can't reject me if you don't really know me. So there's some self-protection happening here that I think we don't always even realize we're doing. But it almost feels safer to wear a mask, or almost feels safer to wear... Do you all remember paper dolls? Remember how you could just fold a different face over your doll? It almost feels safer to just fold a different little paper doll face over yourself instead of show the one that you really have. Because if they reject that one, well, they weren't rejecting me. They were rejecting this false creation anyway, instead of really showing up in our authenticity and being vulnerable to what those responses may be. In this comes a lot of people-pleasing, which, again, I'm sure is a brand new concept to everyone in this room. It's not like we ever talk about people-pleasing. But it's that idea that we need to be who other people want us to be, and that it is my responsibility or any individual's responsibility to become palatable to others instead of expressing the way that God wants to through us. Because one of the very most fundamental teachings of science of mind is that God is expressing itself through each of us individually and collectively exactly the way that God needs to. Eckhart Tolle, in one of his many books, Eckhart Tolle says in one of his writings that you are here to enable the divine to unfold the way it needs to, something like that. I didn't write that quote down, I should have, but I'm paraphrasing. But you are that's how important you are. You are here to enable the divine to unfold the way that it needs to. And if you are pretending to be some other version of you, or putting on a mask or hiding yourself, then you're not allowing the divine to show through you the way that it wants to and needs to. Take a deep breath. I'm going to quote the Bible. It's going to be okay. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 14 through 16, there is the famous and oft-quoted line about hiding your light under the bushel. People do not light a lamp and put it under a bowl, but instead leave it open and it gives light to everyone in the house. So if you are one of the many lights of the divine, hiding yourself under a bushel or behind a different paper doll mask or whatever it is you're doing, you're not allowing your own light to shine, which means everyone else in the house of your life, everyone else in the house of the divine expression through this life isn't getting the light that they need, that was meant to be here. Along with this fear of rejection comes a perfectionism that is just absolutely destructive to authenticity. I used to think that perfectionism meant I want things to be perfect and tidy. I have since learned that perfectionism is or can be a crippling desire to be so in control of the outcome that no action is ever taken. It's this idea that I must be immediately perfect, that I cannot have any room for growth, that I cannot allow creativity to express itself through me. I have to be a finished product, like a finished product is something that even exists. And one of the most important aspects of letting go of perfectionism is remembering that when we are engaging in perfectionist tendencies, when I'm looking at my life or the way that I show up thinking that I have to be somehow perfect, I have to have the right answer for everything, I have to know what to do in every situation, I am putting all of the control on myself and taking God out of the equation. I'm not stepping aside and letting God speak through me. I'm not willing to show up and learn a new lesson or see something differently. And again, one of the things that we love to talk about and teach about in Science of Mind is that God is creative. God is constantly changing and unfolding and showing up in new ways through the world. And if I am showing up to that saying I have to be the static, perfect version of me, then I'm not letting God do that. Ernest Holmes says, as you learn to release all your burdens to the right action of God, you will find that everything falls into its proper place. By releasing the idea that I am somehow in control of the way that anyone else perceives me, or of the way that I show, even of the way that I show up in the world, it makes room for God to rush in. It makes room for God to fill those gaps. And there is no universal perfect. We are all components of a dynamic system. I know that Rev Chris likes to talk about the cosmos sometimes and how it's always changing. Even space, even things that are amazing and seem to our naked eyes perfect, looking at the Grand Canyon, like, wow, it's perfect. It looks complete. It looks like a canyon, but it's not. The water's still eroding it. The explosions in space creating new stars are still happening. Nothing has... There's this idea, I think, that we get in our heads, that I certainly got in my head at one point. I think I read too many fairy tales as a kid, or watched too many Disney movies, and at the end it's just happily ever after time, and they go off, and now it's happily ever after. But we don't get a look at what that is because it doesn't exist. Has anyone ever just folded into their life and like, great, this is exactly how it's going to be now. These are my relationships, and these are my interests, and nothing will ever change. We've arrived at homeostasis. That's not how it works. You might have figured that out already. It was news to me fairly recently. In letting go of perfectionism, we can also embrace what's called a growth mentality, which some of you may have heard of. It's the difference in the idea that I need to be static, or I need to be, I'll use myself as an example. When I was a little kid, everyone called me smart, and I really liked it that I was called smart. And then eventually I stopped wanting to take courses that were challenging, because if it was challenging, then was I smart anymore? And that's an example of what's called a static mindset, this idea that smart is something that exists in me that I can lose or gain, or that I must maintain, I guess is a better way of putting that. Whereas a growth mentality shows it as more of a process. Smart was more of a process. It wasn't so much that you are a smart kid. What is the popular parenting books these days don't say to tell your children that they're smart. They say to praise them for doing things like working hard. Like, you tried really hard on that. You worked really hard to understand that problem. You tried really hard on that math problem or learning to ride your bicycle. And this encourages children to realize that they don't need to defend the projection of themselves as smart, but instead they learn that they can keep learning and they can keep growing. They can keep working on things. And if they have to work on something, they haven't lost a part of their identity. Ernest Holmes again says, if you think of life as flowing through your every action, you will soon discover that the things you give your attention to are quickened with a new energy. If you think of life as flowing through everything, instead of statically arriving at everything, you are quickened with new energy. You have the opportunity to participate in the divine unfolding. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I think we've hit on belonging and perfectionism enough. I think some of learning to stand in our own light is also learning to be accountable for what that means. Accountable to ourselves and to the people around us. Because if we are going to step up, and maybe not to take control of our lives, but take an active presence in our lives, it means we need to be willing to accept feedback for how that might look. Which doesn't necessarily have to mean something is wrong. Once again, I will refer you back to the static versus growth mindsets. Feedback doesn't mean something's wrong. This doesn't mean you're flawed as an individual, but instead maybe there's another lesson to learn here. If we don't arrive to our lives with this idea that we have to do everything right from the beginning, then we're more willing to accept the places where we have more growth to do. And we can use that feedback to move beyond our static ideas, to move beyond the thought of, I am Lydia Joy and I am smart, to I am Lydia Joy and I have a lesson to learn here, and I think I know how to do that. I think I can participate in this lesson. I think I can listen to what this other person is telling me without it threatening the way that I see myself, without it threatening my own identity and self-concept, without it becoming a challenge that I have to argue with them about. How many people have had to give someone feedback and received an argument instead of just, oh, didn't realize I was coming across that way. Thank you. We can use this to move beyond our static. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Do not be too timid and squeamish about your actions. All life is an experiment. The more experiments you make, the better." And I love that way of seeing life. I love that way of seeing my own participation in who I am and how God is manifesting God's self through me as just an experiment. Maybe I try something and it doesn't work. And that's really not the end of the world. But sometimes it can feel like it is, especially if we want to circle all the way back to Brené Brown. If we're so concerned about fitting in instead of belonging, if we're so concerned about presenting an image of ourselves that we think everyone wants instead of presenting the authentic version of ourselves, it's really hard to experiment because everything feels like a lose-win game, you know? Either I did it or I didn't, instead of, today was interesting. I got feedback I didn't expect. Maybe I'll reflect on it for a while. Accountability also demands that we not make others responsible for making our decisions. When we take accountability in our actions, we realize that we are not always in complete control of how that is received. One second. I am allergic to everything that happens in May, apparently. So I've taken a lot of allergy medicine, which means my mouth is very dry. Where was I? Accountability. Fantastic. When we're accountable for our own lives, we're also not asking other people to be in control of our lives, to tell us what to do, to tell us what version of ourselves we think they want us to be. And we can respond to life in a way that reflects our core values. And this is a place where if you haven't done any core values work, I highly recommend it. It is phenomenally helpful to realize what it is that drives you as an individual. For me, it was very powerful to find what some of my own core values were, and I could see where some of the tensions in my life were where I was responding to different values that seemed sort of oppositional within me. So that's just an aside. We'll keep plugging Brené Brown this morning. If you go to her website, you can find a nifty worksheet that will help you work through this. I think it's still free. It was for a while, at least. But we can respond to life in a way that we want to. If integrity is one of my top values, knowing that and taking accountability for the way I show up in the world means I have more opportunities to show up with integrity because I'm showing up in full authenticity with that, with the values and with the integrity. This also means that we actively engage with God in the process of co-creation because we are phenomenally creative, wildly creative people. And all that is ever happening is God is trying to reveal more and more of itself through our actions, through our lives, through our thoughts, and through our impulses. And when we take accountability for the way that we show up, which isn't, I think accountability sometimes gets conflated with punishment or apology. Like, being accountable isn't apologizing for the way you show up. It's owning the way you show up. It's being yourself in your fullness, wherever it is, and being willing to say, yes, I behave this way in these circumstances because of these reasons, and I'm confident in that. And doing so allows God to show up more and more. Because again, we're not hiding our lights under bushels or waiting for someone to tell us how to act. And then finally, when we learn to be accountable, we also learn not to stand in other people's light. There are thousands upon thousands of millions upon millions of lights that God is trying to shine itself through in this world. And when we learn to stand in our own light, like an actor on a stage, we also learn to stay out of that spotlight over there, because that one's not mine, this one is. As a culture, I think we're trying really hard to learn how to hear voices that have been silenced, and how to notice what voices aren't being heard or what voices aren't being included in the room. And accountability as a spiritual practice is a part of that. Recognizing, where have I strayed maybe out of my spotlight, or where have I strayed, or where have I not noticed that maybe this person's light wasn't like turned on? And what can I do about that? Learning accountability as part of our personal expression helps us recognize when we're overstepping and correct, and not go to pieces around that. Because accountability doesn't have to mean whipping yourself. It just means, I see that I did that. I'm going to step back now. The opposite of accountability is doubling down in a kind of ego self-preservation. I see nods. You know what I'm talking about. Fantastic. I think it's especially important as we're working as an organization and as a world to make more space for everyone and listen more to voices that aren't being heard. It's important to recognize that when we get defensive about any feedback we may receive, what we're doing is defending our ego instead of defending the way that God wants to show up in the world. We're defending our ego instead of stepping back and making room so that everyone can be on the stage, so that everyone can stand in their own light. And finally, when we learn to stand in our own light, we can embrace creativity as a process rather than a product. And this is something that I struggle with a lot, which is great because now I have the opportunity to stand here and talk about it. They do tell you in ministerial school that when you're working on a talk for that weekend, you're going to live the talk through the week. And I struggled to get some products out this week. And I struggled to receive feedback this week. So please listen to me. I'm speaking from experience. But when we look at creativity, because we're going to talk about it in the context of creativity, because, again, all that has ever happened is God pouring itself out into the world. I see this as the creative process. And when we look at that as something we do rather than something we have, just like a little kid being told they're smart instead of you thought about that really hard, it becomes something that we fixate on and try to cling to as pieces of our identity instead of work with as pieces of the way that we interpret our lives. Each of us has creativity. We're part of God. That's undeniable. And the more we engage with our creativity, the more natural this becomes. And this doesn't necessarily have to mean something like painting or writing poems. This can mean listening to our intuition, or being really engaged in our prayer work, or finding the call on our hearts that God wants us to unfold in our lives. But the more and more we practice that, the more and more we practice listening to that, the easier it becomes. And the more we practice engaging with our creative processes, the more we see it truly as a process and not a product to present. Rev Chris mentioned that I am working on an MDiv right now, and as part of that, I had a course last semester called Poets Questioning God, and it was a very, very fun course. And in what I'm sure was a gesture of goodwill for his overworked students, my professor for that course decided we weren't going to do academic papers, we were going to turn in creative projects. And I thought very seriously about dropping the course. Please don't make me write poems. I wrote very many poems this last semester. And the first one was a nightmare. It is the first time I have ever turned in anything late. I turned this in late. My professor gave me permission, but still, because I could not get the words on the page. And I was seeing it as this thing that needed to be perfect. I had to put so much of myself onto this and ask really good questions and turn it in and have this amazing poem that's going to blow my professor's mind. It's really hard to blow people's minds when they have PhDs. It's already been done. Like, how many times do you want a mind to get blown? It wasn't going to happen. And then by the last set of poems that I was turning in for this class, I was just going about my day, and I had a thought, and wrote it down. The last thing that I turned in for this class was really fun to write. I laughed while I was writing it, which, if you had told this to January Lydia Joy, I would not have believed you. And it's not that I got better at writing poems, it's that I got a little less precious with them, because I wasn't seeing them as something that needed to be a product. Ta-da, here's my perfect poem. But I was engaging in the process of writing them instead, and recognized that that was all my professor wanted to. Just see what it's like to write this poem. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be anything other than what it is. And step back a little bit and let creativity work through you. One of my, maybe not mantras, but one of the little bumper sticker slogans that's been running around in the back of my mind for the last several weeks is to focus on action and surrender the outcome. And I want you to know, just so you don't think that I'm BSing you. Can I say that up here? BSing you. Is that this is one of the hardest things for me to do in the world. I really like to have a 3-month, 6-month, 1-year, 5-year, and 10-year plans. When people tell me to do things like, just focus on the next right thing and, the rest will fall into place. I'm like, yeah, okay, exactly when will it be falling into place? I understand we're going with the flow here, but when does the flow start? But when we start to focus on action and surrender the outcome, we once again make space for God to come in. When I was in my early practitioner training classes, I was taught to pray for this or something better. A full expression of the divine through me in the best way that the divine knows to do that, in the best way that the divine can imagine doing that. And if I think that looks like this degree, then God give me this or something better. Because God might have something bigger in mind than my little human mind can come up with. So focusing on the action and surrendering the outcome makes space for that. Makes space for something bigger might be coming here, and I know what the next right thing to do, and I know what the next thing is churning in my gut to do because I'm listening to my intuition, because I'm being part of the creative process. And the way that that comes out in the end isn't my business. It's going to work out the way that it does. We learn to ask, who do I want to be in this situation and what is God inviting me to? Rather than, how can I twist this moment into the idea of myself that I have already decided is better than the one that I am? That I've already decided is preferable, that I've already decided the people around me and the divine would prefer me to be, because that's not how it works. The divine prefers you to be exactly how you are. And the people around you will be best served if you show up exactly how you are. In A New Earth, Eckhart Tolle says, it's not what you do, but how you do what you do that determines whether you are fulfilling your destiny. And how you do what you do is determined by your state of consciousness. So my little challenge for you this week, your homework, if you want it, is to think about how you are doing what it is you're doing. Are you doing it with an idea that there is some perfect goal to be attained here at the end? Or are you doing it with the consciousness that God is working itself through you, and that if you follow those little cues and stay in your spotlight, that it will reveal itself most fully? Thank you.
Okay, we're going to share a song by the very wonderful Tom Prasada Rao called Out of the Darkness. One of these mornings, God, I swear, I'll wake up already there, out of the darkness, into the light. It's how I feel when all is wrong, even though I don't belong. Out of the darkness, into the light. darkness. Oh, yeah. I wasn't really born to run. That's just where I'm coming from. Out of the darkness into the light. And when I lay me down to sleep, I pray, oh God, my soul to keep out of the darkness into the light. Out of the darkness, coming out of the darkness. I want to live like there's nothing to forgive, no one to betray, nothing left to pay. One of these mornings, God, I swear, I'll wake up already there, out of the darkness into the light. Out of the darkness, coming out of the darkness, out of the darkness, coming out of the darkness into the light, into the light, oh yeah, into the light. Ooh.
Thank you, All Angles. And I just want to, this is how much we love Brene Brown. Here's our Atlas of the Heart copy, and I'm pretty sure that we have a copy of this book in at least 4 rooms of this center. So, yes, we are big Brene Brown fans here. Thank you, Reverend Lydia Joy. That was wonderful. Let's give them another round of applause. And you will get to see more of them and their partner, Emily, at the potluck because they will be joining us this afternoon. And so this is the time in our service for our gifts and our offerings. And just a reminder, your gifts, your tithes, your time, your treasures, all of that are what go to support the center in bringing in awesome guest speakers and having wonderful music every week and having this space and all of the activities and World Refugee Day and our meditation and just everything that we're doing is supported and buoyed by your gifts and offerings. And so we are so grateful for everything that you bring to the center, whether it's your time, your talent, your treasures, or your love. And so I would like to invite Rich up for a affirmation and blessing.
Join me in saying our offertory affirmation together aloud. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. We now bless all the gifts that are donated now or coming to the center, as we know they are given from the Spirit and love within, as we practice the law of circulation. Money is energy. We express gratitude for this flow of energy in good that is motivated by love and the Spirit within. These gifts come into the center and go back out to the community to benefit the community, and then come back to us multiplied as good is multiplied. I do give thanks that this is so, and so it is.
We are going to share our closing song, I Sing My Love by Chrissy Snow. If you're able and you want to stand for this one, and hope you will sing along with us.
I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I dance my joy, I dance my joy, I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy, I dance my joy, I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy, I dance my joy, I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy, I dance my joy, I dance my joy into the world. I live my peace, I live my peace, I live my peace into the world. I live my peace, I live my peace, I live my peace into the world. I live my peace, I live my peace, I live my peace into the world. I live my peace, I live my peace, I live my peace into the world. I sing my love, I dance my joy, I live my peace into the world. I sing my love, I dance my joy, I live my peace into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love into the world. I sing my love into the world. I sing my love into the world.
Yes, thank you. Woo! All right, so plan on staying for the potluck that's going to happen after this. We'll move chairs out of the way and put up tables and all of that. Doesn't matter if you brought something or not. There's more than enough for everyone. And if you're on live stream and would like to join us, grab your food and join us on Zoom at celebrationcenter.org. Click on the Enter Zoom Events button, and we will have you hybrid in so that way you can be a part of the festivities. And with all of that, I also wanted to let y'all know that Andy Murphy's Celebration of Life is going to be happening September 8th and 9th. So go ahead and mark your calendars, but don't worry, we'll be sending out lots of information for everyone, but I just wanted to give a save the date for y'all so that you knew when to be looking out for that information. And with that, I invite you to repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening right now.
Something wonderful is happening right now.
I release old ideas of good and bad. I am open to new perspectives. I see the value in everything. I am a blessing to the world. And so it is.